IVM.
On the occasion of Independence Day, I plan to re-release an episode which featured Kargil war hero Captain Akhilesh Saxena. This episode is around freedom and why freedom is not free. Akhilesh speaks about his relearning journey, relearning during the wartime, stories from the Kargil war, leadership lessons, the meaning of freedom, and much more. Hope you enjoy this special episode and wish you a very happy Independence Day. Jai Hind.
The Relearning podcast has given me a freedom and avenue to express via this wonderful audio medium, something that I have been always wanting to do. And talking about freedom, what comes to your mind when you hear the word freedom? What does freedom mean to you? Hi, I am Prashant Uttekar, a learning enthusiast, and you are listening to the Relearning podcast. And today it's an honor for me to have a real hero, a Kargil war hero, Captain Akhilesh Saxena, to talk about freedom and how can you and me contribute. Akhilesh was posted at the battlefield of Kargil just weeks after he got married. He was an artillery officer attached with Rajputana rifles. During Kargil war, Akhilesh led the team of commandos to capture peaks like Tololing, the Hump and the Three Pimples. As a forward officer, he directed 109 Bofors guns all together for the firing on the enemy. During the operation, he got injured with 3 enemy bullets and continued the mission, and his team emerged victoriously. Wow, what a story. And let's welcome the man himself. Welcome to the show, Akhilesh.
Hi, thanks, Prashant. Thanks for having me here.
This exactly seems like a movie plot, and you have lived this. So that's why, I probably will repeat, it's an honor to talk to you. It's an honor to know you.
Thanks, Prashant.
The question that I want to start this conversation is around what does freedom mean to you, Akhilesh?
Yeah. So thanks, Prashant. And in my view, I think freedom is one of the most important thing in life, right? It is like having air around us. But most of us, since we were born in a free India, right, we may not realize the importance, right? We do not realize the importance of air till the time it is all around us. But if you just cut the air supply and we cannot survive, right, even for a few moments. Right. That's the same thing is about freedom. Freedom is so important in life. But why? Obviously, we take it for granted because it comes to us naturally. Right. But Prashant, we need to understand that, freedom is not free. Somebody is paying price for this. And this price may be in life of a Jawans who is still fighting there. Some of our freedom fighter, like, Subhash Chandra Bose to Bhagat Singh, and so many who have given their life to give us this freedom. And then the cost of keeping this freedom day in and day out, right? So there are Jawans who are still kind of braving temperature of minus 30 to 35 degree at an altitude of 20,000 to 27,000 feet and still fighting to ensure the integration of the nation. Now, I'll just go back to, few thousand years back. Sure. If you remember, India was a seat of learning, right? We were leaders in learning, in art, in philosophy, in yoga, in finance. Takshila was one of the first university.
Takshila, Nalanda,
everywhere. Yeah. So we were like, we were like leader in the world. We were seen as a guru, and we were kind of years ahead from any other civilization. Right. But then what happened? There was only one thing missing, that we could not keep our freedom. So people like Timur, Babur, they came and they attacked us, looted our, not only the, valuable things, but many part of our ancient culture, scriptures, many things they have just looted. And then it becomes, Mughals, and then last was East India Company. Why? Because we were not, maybe we were great in everything, but I think that was one aspect, keeping the territorial integrity intact. We somewhere lagged in that. And how we have paid the price that, from the world leader few thousand years back, we have just become like a developing country. Other country has moved ahead. So that's why I'm saying everything is important. But this freedom is so important. And just ask the price or value of freedom for all those who were living in when India was not free before 1947, right? Everything, you may be great and everything, but still, it was not what it should be. And we were pushed back thousands of years because we were not having our freedom. So that's why I say today, we are lucky that we are born in free India. we are living in an air of freedom. We can breathe in a free air, but the price of this freedom is important, and we should realize who is paying the price for keeping this freedom, which is so important for us. And we only realize the value when it is not with us. So that's why freedom for me, I have seen what Jawans go through, what I have gone through, just to ensure that each of us as an Indian, we have got our pride, our freedom. So I think for me, it's one of the most important thing. And these are the day like Republic Day, Independence Day, to celebrate, but at the same time be grateful for all those who are paying the price with their life to keep this freedom.
Wow, and that is so powerful. There are so many takeaways from this statement of yours. It is like air and something, and okay, so let me just give you one insight that sometime back,
Yeah.
I was talking to this gentleman from Art of Living for meditation.
Right.
And they said a very simple thing, Akhilesh. They said that the most simple thing in life that we take for consideration, and it happens on autopilot, is breathing.
Yes.
The only time you realize the importance of it is the moment it is stopped.
Top. Yes.
And it was so beautiful. And of course, that the program itself was about breathing and how do you regulate and how do you control that. But it is so insightful because we don't take that into account any day. It's
Exactly.
on. So
It's on. It's given.
yeah, and we don't realize it. But when you say, so can you stress upon, so if you have to guide in terms of how do I relearn, or how do I reinforce that, what is, so you said freedom is not free. So what is the value? What are your 2 to 3 things that you want to tell the kids today?
So I think because they have never lived in India which was not free, right? So as we talked about, we do not know the value till the time that thing is stopped, and they've
Right.
never seen. So till the time we stop the air supply, you will not understand the
Yeah.
value of breathing, or of how it is so important for our life and all. Maybe one good thing for such a small, that if we will give you all the toy, but just we will keep you locked in a room for 2 days, right? You will be given food, you will be given toy, but you'll not be allowed to wear. I'm saying that's a very, very basic way of telling them the value of freedom, right? And if you go back, and the freedom means different things to different person, right? And for a college going students, or somebody who is fresh, just telling him, you may be given your food and a place to stay, but you do not have choice in what career you want to choose. You do not have choice in terms of what clothing you want to wear. You do
Right.
not have the choice to the places you want to go, right? This is the value of, this is a different meaning of freedom. But why they are not able to correlate? Because they have not lived in a India which
Yeah.
was not free.
Right.
So it's important that we just correlate to something which they are enjoying as a freedom,
Uh-huh.
and say if tomorrow is not there, this flexibility is not there, how does it mean to you? Then they will be able to correlate. And the
Yeah.
second thing, Shant, I think as a country, now again we are, growing, and I am very, very powerful. And, my thought process is very clear that India is going to be the world leader in next 8 to 10 years, right? We
Sure.
have got the right caliber, we have got the right technical expertise, we have got the right manpower. But only thing, we need to ensure that we are not doing whatever was done few thousand years back. Our territorial integrity has to be maintained. Even if we are advocating for the peace, we need to have the power, right? Maybe just to quote something from Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, Sama shokti us bhujang ko jiske paas garal ho, usko kya jo vishheen vineet saral ho. So if you are not powerful, you do not have the military might, right? Nobody will look at you. You cannot propose the peace if other person think that you have the might to defeat him. So you need to have a might. You may not use it for the wrong purpose, but might can be also be used for the peace. So that's another thing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I like that take of yours. Now, stressing on this point, and of course, there is no way that we cannot talk about Kargil, and you've been there. And like I said, I've been fortunate to interact you in person, and for some years now. And you've served there. So what is that difference? Because me as a non-defense person or a civilian will have a very different takeaway from that. But when you serve there, how different is that?
It's very different, in fact. And Prashant, just to quote my personal example, when I I got injured in Kargil war last attack, I was hit by splinters, enemy artillery shell, and bullets, and I was in for a very long time. I was in hospital and then moved out to corporate. Before moving to corporate, obviously, and one of the another thing, taking cue from your show, which is relearning show,
Right.
I wanted to ensure that before I move to corporate, I do relearning for myself, right? Because I was in army for a very long time. I was coming into a totally different environment. Maybe we will talk little
You
bit
took my next question.
okay. So
No, please
so
go on.
yeah, I'll dwell upon maybe in that next question. I will talk about relearning,
No,
but
that's
just
fine.
to take it from army, that I actually believe that there are leadership skills which we can learn from there. Because what happens in corporate? What is at stake, right? Maybe 10% our profit can go up and down. Maybe in one quarter we made little low, then we can go high. But the cost of a failure or not doing something right comes in a form of a body bag, right? Somebody is losing the life. And in quarter, if we make some loss or our profit little less, we can cover up in the next quarter.
Yeah.
But if we make a mistake in army, a widow will remain a widow for entire life. A child who has lost his father will remain fatherless entire life, right? So that it's not replaceable, right? It's a permanent damage. So we cannot take it. So it's become so important for us just to ensure that we bring the right leadership in place. And in army, and when I was talking to many corporate leader, I say, if we really want to learn the lessons of leadership, we should do our next leadership workshop in Kargil or in some of these places where we see people actually facing the situation like death in life. Because in that crisis, your real leadership comes in play. Here the stakes are not so much, but you make the stake that you will live or not live next moment. That's where your real leadership comes in life. And just to quote a very small example, when we were just going for a Tololing attack, right? It was a very difficult attack. Stakes were that we will not get the victory. 98% we were confident that we may not get the victory because enemy was sitting on top. He has put mine all across on your way, and Indian army has to, climb through that.
Okay.
And they were continuously putting the fire and throwing stones and grenades, launch everything, because they know that that is the only way that Indian army can climb.
Okay.
Temperature was going up to minus 20 degree. And you have to put nearly 40 kg on your back and you have to go. Now, in this kind of situation, how do you bring the leadership? How do you encourage some of Jawan to say, come with me, I'm taking you for a mission where chances of success are not even 2%, and the cost is your life. How do you motivate them? You cannot give him ₹1,00,000 or 2 crore rupees because everything goes through an army thing. But that's why your personal thing comes into where action speak more than your words, right?
Right.
So, just to put what I did in that time, not only me, Vikram, Captain Vikram Batra, Captain Vijayan Thapar, Captain Manoj Pandey, many of us young officers did the same thing. So what happens in army, officers stay in middle for command, control, everything during, all these attacks and war.
Right.
But we came forward and we say, this is as per the Sikhlai, this is as per the learning. But today is the time to do the relearn and put something which is, actually required. And what is required? That we are going to face our enemy upfront. So I will be the one who will be leading the attack. So if first enemy bullet comes, that will come to me before it hit any one of you. When you make this kind of a statement, you bring so much of motivation and encouragement, then everyone was charged up. And we all say, in Rajputana Rifle, we say Karni Mata Ki Jai and Raja Ramchand, and we were fearless, right? And that's the kind of courage and bravery we need to go over peak like Tololing, where enemy was having all the advantage. But the real lessons definitely you can learn today also, the way we deal with this kind of situation, Prashant.
Wow. Now, this small little snippet itself was so motivating for anyone who's listening to this. And you can see that I'm nodding my head very vigorously. But you know what? When they literally say in corporates that you are in the battlefield, I don't think so, man. I really don't think so. Yeah, no. Cost of failure is surely the body bags. But if there is a leader like you who leads, like, walks the talk, and वो कहते हैं ना कि अपनी स्टोरी में मैं हीरो है, but that is more after hindsight, मतलब बाद में बताने वाली बात है. But
Correct.
at that situation, doing that and literally leading, and you didn't really say it, you literally took the bullet and
Obviously.
still completed. So that I don't know. I'm too small to give you a compliment, but I have told you this amazing, and I've heard so many stories throughout on the YouTube and otherwise also. Is just something that is so commendable as an individual, Akhilesh, as a person that I know, and for the country, that I know someone who's taken a bullet for the country. It's so amazing.
No, and Prashant, when we were doing this, I think, only thing which was in our mind was that, whatever happens, we may actually kind of, our life may be on a road accident. There are so many diseases which happening, right?
Yeah.
But what we wanted to ensure that, somebody is there who is keeping this, integrity and the prestige of India. So I think, and I say it very proudly that whatever I do in life, I did quite well in corporate and, may do even better. But the biggest moment and achievement is when we have put that tricolor on that Tolo ring. I think that's the biggest moment in my life and will remain. Nothing ever come even close to that. So that's
if I can get goosebumps just listening to it right now, I cannot imagine the feeling you would have, Akhilesh. So it's just amazing. I that boils to the another question, Akhilesh, is that you know uh, I certainly feel that it's a privilege to serve for the country. For many reasons I could not. Always wanted to, but could not. So how does one contribute, even though like people like me who want to serve into defense, or many who want to do something and contribute to this? And like you said, I think that's the correct value of freedom, or gaining that value. So how does one go about that? How does one contribute?
Correct. So I think obviously one, we think, all those who are going at the battlefield, fighting the enemy bullets, they are obviously doing a lot for the country, which is right, which is 100% right. And we should always be grateful, right? Every time this time I think about my comrades who are still fighting, they are, facing the bullets, which is one thing. But obviously everyone cannot just be there in the front and do that. Only handful of them or us need to make that, choice and do this. But a very important thing is that whatever we are doing in our profession, I think we can contribute to this nation. And this is very important that, we understand, because freedom meaning is not only just the territorial freedom. Freedom, there are, as a country, we need to grow up, right? We still looking for freedom from corruption. That's a fact. We still need freedom from poverty. We still need freedom from unemployment. There are few things which we still have to do as a nation, right?
Yeah.
So do we have the best of the in medical infrastructure? Do we have the best of the medical thing and employment opportunity? So there are still, we got the first thing, which is freedom. But then there has to be many things which has to be built over this, right? Then in our capacity as a responsible citizen of this country, I think we can contribute and nobody can stop you. And one example, think of yourself, right? You are doing your job, but are you taking your time off from this and try to bring something into the society, right? It's all about, do the relearning, learn new things, do something in the similar way. Can you just think, what am I contributing for my nation? Am I helping it to grow in terms of bringing more employment, bringing more education? Am I helping anyone to, go through that above the poverty line? Am I just helping somebody to bring that consciousness that somebody is still fighting on the border and what he is facing? Because, in our day-to-day life, Prashant, we get so busy that we are not aware that somebody is still braving these minus 28-degree temperature and bullets, right? To bringing this fact to everyone, just by making them realize, it's so important. As a nation, we need to be strong, right? See, UK, whatever we had a, relationship, but they are very, very proud of their army. And, the kind of respect you see in society, whenever, I was in London once and I just saw somebody just came to put the wreath on, somebody who fought for the country. And everyone on the road, just giving him the road, they all stood one side and they were clapping.
Wow.
That's the kind of, respect they get. we just forget. We just remember our soldier when there is a war. I think, if we make it realize that no, every day there is a war, somebody fighting. So if we just do our work, I think, to make this nation strong and making everyone realize that, all those who are fighting for the country, we need to be a little grateful for them. I think, we will be able to do that job. So
Wow.
making this nation strong, I think each one of us can contribute. Somebody can take out a gun and stand on the border. I think that's a extreme sacrifice which everyone make. But in whatever we are doing, if our intent is right, I think we'll be definitely able to contribute in some way.
Wow. So intent it is, because, and that's what matters, right? At the end of the day, the kind of respect, that landscape I never could understand, Akhilesh. I and you see a lot of videos where the soldiers coming back home and how they're applauded at probably at the airport. Uh, but at the same time, I'm a very hopeful and a positive guy. Recently, I saw that in India as well. Not the way it is done outside, but that's okay. As far as when our guys came back, when our soldiers came back to the respective locations, some sections were very happy and they were applauding them. It's changing for sure. That's for sure. But why do you think that acceptance is still not? It's still not a celebrated event the way it is probably in outside India. It's changing, but why do you think that is? Why is that difference? What is that difference?
Maybe because, when we got freedom, after that, slowly people did not realize that, they say war only happens, say, one in 1962, then 65, after 71 till Kargil for next 20 years,
Right.
28 years, there was no war. They do not realize that, it's not only war, it's the counterinsurgency, which is like a mini war, which we are
Every
fighting
day.
every day.
Yeah.
It's a proxy war which China and Pakistan are putting on us, and we have to fight it out. And then we have got a huge border, one side on Pakistan, one side of
Right.
China, which we have to protect every day. And you said very rightly, I see that changing. Whenever, I tell them this is what army, and I took it as my mission that, even if I move to corporate, I will bring this awareness into the people of India, because, it is so important that what, these guys are sacrificing. I have been part of that.
Yeah.
I have seen that. Many of them, given their limbs, right, they are without their legs, without their hands, right, they are still surviving for the life. But as a nation, do we owe something to them? Do we have this feeling that it is not only at the time of war, but every day somebody is, giving this sacrifice for this nation and this freedom, which we are enjoying without realizing even the importance of that freedom? So I think it surely changes. And thanks to, maybe people like you and so many who is bringing this awareness into the society, that why it is so important and who is working for this. So I think I definitely see things changing on a very, very positive side.
Superb, and thanks for being positive and staying positive. I know that you do this a lot, and in every. By the way, for my listeners, Akhilesh plays many roles these days. He of course is a top-notch boss in a corporate, and most important, he's a motivational speaker. The most important part in that is he doesn't charge, because he's taken upon himself to go out and spread the message. Okay, let me just do this. Let me share some videos, then you'll realize what I'm talking about. Right. So, talking about one interesting point you said, one side is Pakistan, other side is China. I wanted to take your some time around what is your opinion on the current situation on China?
All right. So since we got the freedom, obviously Pakistan, so one, we have got a very porous border. Porous border means we do not have a well-defined border, right? So in Rajasthan, after some time, we were able to put the pillars, concrete steps. So in Rajasthan side, now we have got a very, very defined border, right?
Okay.
So there is a wires and then, there is no man's land. So there is till the time someone actually want to cross and all, but borders are very well defined. Now this does not happen in, mountains. So when we go towards Kargil and then we go towards Leh, both Pakistan and China, we have got mountains. And mountains, obviously, your topography is such that you cannot have a defined line or something, going through this. So these are very kind of, porous border and interchangeable border, right?
Right.
So with Pakistan, we have already fought 3 wars. But China was, once they captured Tibet, slowly they start kind of, inch by inch, they start, moving ahead in India. And obviously in 1962, we stopped them. There was a war, and then they kind of, after some time, there was a agreement. settlement, and everything was fine. Now China wanted to come up as a global power. To become a global power, they wanted to show their military might also. And if they wanted to show to the world that if they are able to push India back, right? Because they also understand that India is the biggest competitor for them. The way India is growing, everyone knows India will kind of, take over China as a global superpower. So now they just wanted to show their military might, and they started slowing, inching up towards our border and some of these disputed lands during, late. Earlier, our policy was, because there was a thousands kilometers of barren land, we were not too bothered, even if it is, we didn't want to kind of, go into full-fledged conflict. But now this time we say India is not the country to be pushed around, right? We took the stand and we say, no, this is till the time we are here on these peaks, we will going to stay. China was maybe not thinking about such a strong reaction from India. So they were taken by surprise, and then they got obviously a lot of their army and all. But we decided to stay. And if I really tell you about, in terms of equipment, China may be superior to us. Okay. But in terms of the personal bravery and how we can fight in mountains and everywhere, I think Indian soldiers and officers are best in the world. Nobody can compare, even US, best of their academies and all, where there are joint exercise. It has been proven once and again that, Indian officers and Indian soldiers are the best when it comes to fight for their country. That passion, that motivation, that tiranga, everything drives them so much. I think, that's what I can say. So in this winter, now we decided to stay in all these peaks. Now the temperature has already gone down to -20 to -28 degrees centigrade in various places. They are staying in a very, very difficult situation because we were not ready for this. So like Kargil, we were taken for surprise. We were not having equipment, snow tent, and we fought like this. But we have never given up. In the similar way today also. So they are fighting. They are kind of, guarding our border. And now few days back, China has kind of taken back their troops back because they were not able to survive in this kind of situation. So that's already a psychological victory for us, right? They were not able to survive. Now they may again come once the temperature become little better in May, June, but at least next 3-4 months. And that's a great psychological victory because once two army are kind of, in front of each other and they are saying we will stay there, and suddenly one army is going back because the kind of weather condition, it was not bullets, but weather, they were not able to survive. And every Indian post, we are still there with our, tricolor flying high. So I think that gives us such a confidence that we are the safe hand.
A couple of questions there, and this is a great insight, and thanks for your opinion on that. So recently I saw this new area where they've put like 100 homes or something of that sort. So I'm not sure how true is that. Was it? I did not see it in news, but I did see it on Twitter. So what is the reality around that?
So I think what they are trying to do, and I think that's being, Pakistan maybe generally try to do that. They try to bring some of their, because I'm saying citizen can come to India, they can settle down at least for the time being. So it was like a mini Chinese colony in Arunachal Pradesh. That's why, there was red flag raised that, it may think, but I don't think it's much because anyway, you will find many Pakistani citizens inside India. You will find many Chinese citizens also for commerce and all they come. So I don't think it's such a big thing, just having 100 guys inside. But only thing, they need to be monitored and tracked so that, tomorrow if there is a war, they are not passing any sensitive information to them.
Okay.
Both at the Pakistan. But I don't think it's such a red flag. It's more important that, from the border side, we are not. If somebody is staying in Delhi, 100 Chinese, they can't suddenly say this. They will make it in China or something.
Okay. No, I
don't think it's such a big issue to deal with.
It's not a red flag. Asking you a personal question, and you actually already answered this, that, at the war itself, you relearned that, I was taught certain way, but that is a time I showed situational leadership. But let me just come to a near recent thing. What have you relearned about yourself recently?
So for me, I think in my life, relearning is very cornerstone for my, I think, it's my character. Why? Because I need to keep myself challenged and motivated. And if I keep doing the same thing for a very long time, right, you will not see challenge. Even if you're doing a corporate profile, if you do it after 2 years, 3 years, it becomes a routine for you. Are you kind of challenging your mental faculty that much? Are you challenging yourself to learn new things? So that does not happen. So, right, in life, sometimes you have to take that conscious decision to kind of relearn, start from all over again. And in my personal life, I'll just give you this example. When I was in hospital, after getting injured, obviously I could have stayed because I was injured, and then I was not allowed to go to field because of my bullets and other injury.
Right.
And I could have get all the promotions and all. But the question which was I asking continuously to myself, that I fought the war, I done best of the courses, I got best of the grading in the army. Now, if I stay and I'm not even allowed to go to the war or the active field because of my injury, permanent injury, army, there are medical classification. So I was, because of my injury, I was permanent 80% disability.
Right.
So I was not allowed to go to the field. Now I was saying, should I stay in army? Obviously, I was a war hero for a army. They always respect me. They call me in for all their functions. I am, one of the guest of honor, starting from Republic Day parade to Kargil War Divas, everywhere. But does not mean, I'm saying as an individual, how will you learn? How will you grow? And how will you motivate yourself? And for me, challenges are something which keeps me going, right? So then I say, let me take a different challenge. So I was passed out from NDA. So after 12th, till that time, when 6-7 years in army, and I gone through National Defense Academy, and also 10 years I was totally away from the even books, right? Whatever we were reading, it was more for the army strategy and tactics. But I took that decision that I'll move out in corporate, and not only move out directly, take a job, because being a Kargil war hero, I was given an offer by starting from ONGC to Tata Group, many, because being a war hero, but I refused. I say I cannot take a job for what I did for my country, because what I did, that was my duty, that was for my satisfaction, right? What I will do, I will prove myself. So I've gone back to Prashant books again, starting from my 10th class book, and that was a real relearning for me. And I started from 10th class books again, and within 8 months, I cracked all the exams of FMS, IM, and Excel Write.
Nice.
And then started my MBA with FMS Delhi as a regular MBA, right? Because I wanted to relearn, and wanted to ensure before I go to corporate, I know, in a much more in a structured way what's going on. So then I passed out with FMS Delhi with a gold medal. But that's a way I really gone through the grind and started from all over again from my 10th class book, right? I still remember I picked up all the books, second-hand book, 10th class book, and that was my starting for my preparation for MBA.
See, that's the reason I wanted to talk to you on the Relearning podcast, So I'm sure this would come about. But thank you for sharing that. Yeah, you were saying, sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to bring one aspect about relearning is when you are doing a relearning for a new thing, your insight from other things will always help you in doing that. I think, anyone who is taking a new thing, but if you have done great something. So after doing my MBA, I bring a lot of these aspects from my Kargil, from my war, from my army days into the leadership part of this.
Right.
And if you see how do I govern my team, I deal with my corporate profile. Lot of influences there, some of the value system which I have learned on the war field, right? Because that's a real leadership test in my view. And in corporate also, Prashant, I think, keeping myself motivated. Every 3 years, 4 years, I keep changing my profile. And my profile, it changes from sales ops to business excellence to the cost innovation to the delivery. It's 100% change, because that forces me that I go back to, ground again, start from A, and I start my journey all over again. So in my life, relearning is all about, because this will keep me motivated, challenge, and this is the way I want my life. I always need some challenge to, keep me going. I cannot have a boring everyday, just going on whatever I have done in my life once. So I think that's why, I was saying you have taken a very apt topic, relearning, because it's very important for us in life to continuously challenging ourselves. and learning new things.
It's surely motivating, Akhilesh, because exactly then that's you have defined the podcast for everyone. So thank you. So whenever I have to tell someone what is this podcast about, I will just play this. All right. So thank you for sharing that piece. So now couple of personal questions, and it's a rapid fire round. And I know for a fact that we will definitely catch up whenever, wherever. So you don't win a hamper here. What you win is either a coffee, chai, or whichever drink that you have, and that's on me. I hope that's okay.
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
will love that.
Okay, super, Akhilesh. So the first question, and you do a lot of motivational sessions and a lot of webinars and seminars. So what has been one of the most awkward situation that you were at?
Uh, so you really got me. I awkward situation. So maybe once I was having a seminar, and one of the question, in fact, you were asking. Somebody really asked me that I could not do anything in my life. That person says that I have faced so many failure,
Uh-huh.
but still I wanted to do something for my country. How do I start all over again? And I actually,
Right.
when I've gone through this, he has got so many failures in life, starting from academics. Then he tried in some corporate, he could not work out. Then he started his business, even that was not possible, right? So he was looking for some motivation, and he was saying how I will be able to do that. So that was one of the difficult situation where I actually don't know how to give him the way from there. But I just asked him that can he go back to his failures over the, and he say, I've got just failure in my life which I can show you. I do not have any success story till now, more
Uh-huh.
at my personal level, at my professional level, at my financial level. So I told him that just jot down some of your failure, regions of the failure, and can you take some lessons out of this, right? So he said, okay, give me 1 hour. And then I started talking to other participants.
Right.
And I was not realizing, but after 1 hour, and he say, I think this was one aspect I never looked. I took failure and I was depressed, disappointed, right? Each
Right.
failure made me more disappointed. But once you asked me to look at your failure and just write it down, I started that, my learning and some of the reason why I failed, it given me a totally new sense. I say it's all your,
Okay.
nothing to me. You did it yourself. And this is around 7-8 years back.
Uh-huh.
I was just talking to a group of professionals, and I'm happy. I'll not say the name because it's confidential.
Sure.
But after 3 years, that guy started a new business all over again. And
Nice.
he just reached out to me that I just wanted to say thanks to you because that was
Oh,
a
nice.
turning day for my life. So I'm saying that was an awkward moment in front of everyone. I didn't know
Yeah.
what to tell him, but it turned out great. And I feel so happy that just a little advice
Oh,
can
nice.
really
Yeah.
face
Good part is he kept at it, and he after 3 years he's still
yeah.
in touch.
He found because my number changed,
Uh-huh.
my kind of address changed. He found out from social media by typing Captain Akhilesh Saxena. Then he finally took my number from someone and he reached out. He said, I just wanted to personally say thanks to you
So nice.
for that day.
So
So
nice. Superb. And thank you for sharing that. Okay, second question. If time travel was possible, which era would you go and why?
So I think what I mostly enjoyed time, which was so again, it's irony that most difficult time of your life is also gives you the maximum satisfaction. So when I joined
True.
the army, maybe as a young officer, as a lieutenant and captain, and when I was posted to Kargil and before that into JNK into counterinsurgency, every day we were facing with the death to with terrorist and then with enemy. But I think maybe that was the biggest best time when I enjoyed also. We were so thick. I think that was because of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Many of my friends, we were just like one unit. We could have given our life for each other. It was for the ethos, that value system we were living for. We were always, I am also always full of pride for our nation and what we are doing. But I think if I go back, I think I still go back to being a captain in army.
Oh wow. I mean that's not even far. Superb. And wow, so much to learn from you. Okay, thank you. And the last question, Akhilesh, is I'm sure, and I know that you read. So, any recommendations for book, movies, or a podcast?
Okay, so I do a lot of do a lot of books on Audible. And three things which I this thing. Robin Sharma, Monk Who Sold His Ferrari was great book in my view. I think it helped me bring a lot of perspective in my life. So I think that was a great book. 7 Habits is again one of my favorite book, and I keep going back to this because I don't think it's a book, but it's like a reminder. You keep going back to is look at where are you making mistake in your personal journeys, private victories, and public victory. Right? They talk about these 7 habits.
That book is like a Gita, Quran, or a Bible. Every time you visit, you will get something different from it.
Exactly. So I kept it. That old copy, and Prashant, if we need, I'll show you. I have done a lot of notes around that, because I go back and I look at that notes, and every time I read, I get a different perspective.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
And other thing is, I'm definitely going to write a book that's based on my experience, and also once it will be ready, I will be kind of letting you know. So I'm also putting all my things together.
Any date in mind to release?
Maybe by end of this year. I'm just planning to.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, fantastic. I want to just claim the rights of you coming back to the podcast to release the book also.
Yes.
Super, Akhilesh. Any last parting words for the listeners? And by the way, listeners, this is the first ever podcast Captain Akhilesh Saxena is on. So this goes on in the history of podcasts that I had a real Kargil war hero, and Akhilesh's first ever podcast. So it's a proud moment for me. So any last parting words from you? More than happy to take.
And for me also, Prashant, because as I say, this is my first podcast. So when I did my first TV interview, it's always in my memory, right? When I was first article published in Times of India about me, it was a thing. So your first is always special for you. So I think I will always cherish this talk. I just want to kind of give 2 quick messages to listener. One is about the relearning. I think, I take as relearning as a very important cornerstone in my life because it keeps me motivated. If I keep doing the thing what I'm doing, I think I'll be bored, and many of us, and we will not grow as a human, as a person in terms of our mind. I'm saying for a human, it is very important that you challenge yourself. To challenge yourself, you have to take something where you are not master, right? You have not done it in your life or done for time. So take a conscious challenge in your life. Do relearning, maybe in your financial world, in your corporate world, or in your personal life. But take some challenges which you have not done. Do something which you have not done. Go for some adventure which you have never tried it. I'm saying that will keep life, happening, motivating. So that's very important. So that's for the learning. And I just want to end this. Always realize the value of freedom on this important day, as we are doing. Freedom is not free. Somebody is paying for price for this. I think if you just keep these 2 words in mind, you will understand how important is of freedom is for all of us, and what is the price of keeping it intact. So with this, I just wanted to say Jai Hind, all the best, and may our nation grow strong and powerful with each passing year. Thank you, Prashant.
Super. Thank you so much, Akhilesh. This was amazing, and this was a very unique and special episode. Thank you so much for your time and energy.
Thanks a lot, Prashant.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be safe, be well, be empowered.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcasts website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.